Yo, what's going on? Hello, Twitch friends. Hello, YouTube friends. Mark, Sabu, Janita, P-Rex, Carsco Vroom. What's going on? Ray, going for the Zalon Bao. Asian Skills, what's up, homie? Katie, hello. Trust Ninja, how's it going? Jorge, what's going on, man? Toon, good to see you, bro. How's everybody doing today? I was going to go to live a little bit early, chat about what happened so far in the weekend. We can have a little conversation, talk about Akon a little bit, maybe, you know. Danny, hello from LA. Hello, America's Choice. Welcome to the stream. How's everybody doing? Benjamins, hello. How you doing, brother? I have schnitzel tonight. Oh yes, we are going to have dish schnitzel. And I've got a special guest right here. You can probably see. Barry's joining us for the start of the stream. Please don't knock anything off the desk, buddy. Chris, how's it going, man? Need you take on Q3 yesterday? Doom's Traveler laid on me. Talk to me, Goose. What we got? Hey, Quabs, what's up, man? Barry, where you going? No, do not go over here. You cannot go over here, buddy. I made you a spot for your fluffy self. Get involved and hang out there, buddy. Can we get a 30 seconds real quick?
30 seconds. 30 seconds.
That was a little bit early. A premature 30 seconds. Scar, thank you for the tier 1 for 8 months. Didn't know autopay was on. Oh, no. Barry, where you going, bro? No laptop. No keyboards. Okay, buddy? Oh. I don't know. Sprint weekend. Thoughts? W or L for sprint weekend? I need to know what you guys think. Can we get a poll on... anybody can run a poll on Twitch? I can run one on YouTube quickly. All right, we're back. We're in. How's everybody doing? Welcome to the stream. I don't know why this monitor's in the shot today. Get out of there, monitor. And all you can see is me on the corner, so... We're going super wide. Not the biggest fan, but we move, yeah. So let's talk about it. Here's what we're going to do. For anybody just new tuning in, welcome to the stream. We're going to have a little breakdown, see what I did there, of what happened in sprint race and sprint qualifying. I'm going to give you a little sneak peek into my little buy me a coffee world. How about that? 63% of you guys are voting L on the sprint races over on YouTube. Thomas, hello. Let's talk about, do you guys want to talk about proper qualifying first or sprint qualifying? I think we talk about proper or Friday qualifying first, yeah? Lando on pole, W, yeah. I mean, that's pretty cool. Rory's got an interesting one. I think that Formula One should use the practice sessions to be as nerdy as possible and try to get as many people interested in all the details. They could do that if they got some help. I would totally be willing to help them. You know what I'm saying? Proper quality? Yeah, let's start with Friday. You forgot what I looked like, Janita? It's me. I'm blind. So far, how's everybody feeling about Sao Paulo, Brazil race? I know it's a sprint weekend. Let's put that aside. Overall, this track is just badass. Like sector 2, there's just so much going on, and there's so many different ways people get the lap right or wrong. I don't think that was a massive deal breaker, but it's like there's no one right way through all that from turn 5 all the way up to turn 10, you know? It's just a spectacular racing circuit with lots of jeopardy, lots of stakes. We saw lots of people making mistakes at turn 3. No names, Akon. Brazil always brings bangers. Yeah, usually does. Very usually does. We stand Brazil in this household. Love that. Love that. Let me pull up qualifying. We'll run through my notes for qualifying. We've got about 25 minutes. So the point of this is to go live before the sprint race starts. Have a chat with you guys, answer any questions, and obviously share some of the nerdy data insights that I can dig up with you guys. So I hope you find those super interesting. If you're tuning in on YouTube, welcome. If you're here on Twitch as well, hello. On YouTube, obviously, if you could hit that thumbs up button, that is awesome. And give me a chance to earn it. Don't go anywhere. All right, we'll talk through the data. Could you explain why AlphaTauri didn't do more than one run in sprint qualifying 3? They had enough tires for it. Good question. Good question. Let me get into it. Let me drive then. Let me put in the driver's seat. If you guys have any questions, try to keep them on topic, and we'll get moving. All right. Love the dirty little insights. So yesterday's qualifying saw Max Verstappen take pole. However, the fastest lap times happened in Q2. Here is what the lap times looked through the qualifying session. So, I mean, here's Q1. You know, people were doing 1 minute 10.3 or so. Boom. Lando Norris getting the absolute fastest outright lap in Q2, 1 minute 10. And then obviously the weather was coming in and qualifying 3. And here's the thing. A lot of teams waited. I'm just going to show you guys the whole report. You could see, like, when they started, never mind the axis on this, but the further to the left is its earlier start. So Verstappen went out early. Perez waited. Hamilton also went out quite early. Alonso Stroll went out quite early. Then Piastri and Norris Piastri was one of the latest people to leave the garage, and Norris was really, really quite late leaving the garage there. So that absolutely had them over. Oh my God, Ali. No way, dude. Ali, you're out of control. Somebody time out Ali. No, I'm just kidding. Genuinely, thank you. Like, wow. If you got a gifted sub from Ali gifted 50 subs over on Twitch. Dude, thank you so much. That's out of control. Can we get some W's across all platforms for Ali? No way, dude. Seriously, thank you very much. Jorge with the super chat. I have a question. I think the crash was Ocon 1 year penalty, but in all seriousness, Ocon 70, Alonso 30. I agree with you, man. Dude, thank you for the super chat as well. So let's get into the data. There's a lot of more questions about data, but I mean, I think looking at outright pace from qualifying on Friday, I don't think is great, because if you look at what was happening, for example, I'll try to explain with the data why this doesn't make any sense. So this is everybody's tires they used and when they went out on those tires. Here's Q1. This block of runs is Q1. This block of runs is Q2. And here's the final Q3. Obviously, Q3 was curtailed because of the weather. But if you notice, Max goes new soft, used soft. Norris goes used soft, new soft. So clearly Norris is going to have an advantage in that Q2 run. And if we look at that, yes, that was Norris's Q2 time. That's why outright he was so much faster in Q2. But we saw in the sprint shootout today, Norris was genuinely fast. And I don't think anybody was surprised by that. We even went back to, what is it? Let's go back to free practice 1 yesterday. I'm just giving you guys like a look into my entire workbook. I publish all this stuff over on buymeacoffee.com/break, or you can just go to break.com. But let's talk about it, because we knew from yesterday, let me just wait for all this to load. We knew from yesterday, like, you saw these laps, right? And we saw that Norris was like, oh no, they're not very fast. They were sandbagging. I'll let this thing load and I'll come back to it. But we knew for a fact that McLaren were going to be fast this weekend. I mean, here's Piastri in free practice 1, his aborted lap versus Sainz. At this point, he was going to be, 3 to 4 tenths faster than Sainz was in free practice 1. So we knew for a fact they had. And there was a very deliberate reason why McLaren backed out of that. Don't forget that we are in the sprint shootout format this weekend, so you have far fewer tires. And to remind everybody of the tire sets available, normally you get 12 dry tires. You get 2 hards, 3 mediums, 8 softs. On a sprint shootout weekend, you only get 2 hards, 4 mediums, and 6 softs. You have to use a soft in sprint qualifying 3, and in normal qualifying, you're going to use 4 or 5 softs if you're trying to go for pole. So they basically saved a half a lap on that soft, got a read on it, and parked it. But I feel like proper qualifying, I mean, we can look at Max's lap, but I think it was a good lap in Q3. But everybody in Q3 was struggling with weather, and it showed you the people that looked out of the pit wall, saw the sky coming down, and took the risk to go early rather than wait. Because if you wait, the track will improve quite a bit. And you see that in every session, you get lap times evolving through the session. It's a very normal thing. Track evolution, we call it. But the wind was picking up. You saw the camera views, and there was palm trees literally like sideways, right? So I think that the people in the pit wall that took the gamble and full sent it, yeah, I mean that obviously paid off massively. So yeah, I mean on the pit exit, Max was just like cutting past cars on the way in. He was cutting around cars yesterday. But Norris versus Verstappen yesterday, let's look at it quickly. And but the thing is, it's in sprint shootout 3, or is it sorry, it was in qualifying 2. Let's go look at the sprint shootout. Honestly, I think that's a little bit more interesting session, because I think we really saw a much better indication of where people were at. I mean, Friday qualifying, Stroll was P3. Today, Stroll got knocked out in SQ1. Did anything happen to Stroll in sprint qualifying 1? I don't remember that at all. Do you think the lower track temps hurt Mercedes and McLaren's tire warm-up? I think track temperature was second order, considering how windy it was. Hexadecimal, dude. Hex, thank you so much for the tier 1 for 23 months. Nearly 2 years, dude. I appreciate you. But I don't know what happened, but yesterday the Astons were they'll start second row for the race, but I don't think they're going to hang on to it. Sprint qualifying, sprint shootout today. We had a couple of different issues. We had the Ocon versus Alonso thing, and I think somebody put it great. And like I think the steward's decision on that incident makes perfect sense. Like Ocon in his interview said, I was up at turn 1. I was up for an improvement. It's like, yeah, you were up, and then you were literally sideways, skidding, exiting turn 3. Yes, if Alonso wasn't there, Ocon moves on. That is not a lap at all. That's not like, that lap is done at that point. We've seen several people have moments there. Piastri on free practice 1, Norris during the sprint shootout, I believe. There's somebody posted a Twitter clip under that. So yeah, I'm not too sure. Epic Sports, happy birthday, man. Alcon's interview was just like, mate, I don't think he gets it, and he fully blames Alonso, but I don't think he appreciates that he was not actually in the control of the car. The decision in the end for the Ocon Alonso was no fault. No one wholly at fault racing incident, which I agree, but I don't know. I think if you're Ocon, you're not going to say I fucked up, but if you're Ocon, he did mess up. That's my take. I think this from sprint shootout, I think the pecking order or the race performance order is much better. Let's go to this one. So here is the gaps to pole. Unfortunately, the Williams with Albon 2.7% off pole, which is huge. The Aston Martin, Alonso obviously didn't get to go again. Stroll, as David says, potentially got traffic. Alfa Romeo, Alpine, and Haas, sitting around 1.5 to 1.75% off of fastest. Ferrari looked to be a relative underperformer, and we'll try to understand a little bit why that is. AlphaTauri, both of the AlphaTauris in Q3, I do believe. Mercedes, Russell, 0.3% off, roughly. Verstappen, just a 0.1% off of pole with Norris. So, I mean, we're talking about 60 thousandths, 6/100ths of a second. And we'll have a look at what that looks like. In terms of perfect sectors, if Norris had put his perfect sectors together, he had another 10th in the bag. And Hamilton, if he'd put his perfect sectors together, he would have been slightly ahead of Russell. But he didn't get his perfect sectors together. Here's kind of an interesting story, or a nice graphic that I think tells the story. And if you haven't seen this, I'll explain it. And if you have seen it before, just bear with me, because I think this is super important for everybody that wants to talk about the downforce and drag compromise. This is the graphic to help explain that to people. So we've got 15 minutes until the sprint race starts. So let's talk about this. This is a chart of lap time from top to bottom, and top speed from left to right. And this is not speed trap. This is actual top speed at the end of the straight. So towards the bottom is a fast lap time, and towards the top is a slow lap time. On the left is a slow car in a straight line, and on the right is a fast car in a straight line. So we've got Albon, Alonso, Sargent, Stroll, Zhou, Russell, and Hamilton all on the slowest end of the spectrum. Gasly, Ocon didn't get a lap in SQ2, so let's take him out. But yeah, Alpine are very low downforce, very low drag. They are 5 to 6 kilometers an hour faster than the other fast cars. But we've got this group here. We've got the Ferraris, we've got the Red Bull powered cars, and we've got Norris. And Piastri's lap was not great. Is that Ricciardo under Sainz? It is, yeah. So it's all the Red Bull powertrains cars, both the Ferraris and Norris. Piastri, if he'd got that lap in, he probably would have been there. But look at where Russell and Hamilton are. They're relatively fast. They're only a quarter of a second off, but they're very slow in a straight line. And we'll look at let's have a look at what that looks like. And I think that's super interesting. We'll circle back to the difference between Norris and Verstappen, but I think we should look at Norris versus Russell first. And this is super interesting. Let's talk about it. So this is the lap telemetry of Norris in blue, Russell in red. If you're new to this, I'll explain it quickly for people that are new as well. If you're an OG and you already get all this, great, you're the best. And if you're enjoying this, check out www.break.com. I publish these entire reports, the stuff that I'm going through. I publish these in their entirety. Everything that I've got here is published on that Buy Me a Coffee platform, and you can see everything. So let's see. Norris, good top speed over Russell. We expected Russell to have, you look at all the straight lines, Russell is slower than Norris in a straight line. The Mercedes has more drag and downforce on it. Now, Russell carries a bit less speed into the apex of turn 1-2, but Russell has an amazing exit out of turn 2 to turn 3. Russell is up 2/10 going down to turn 4. So at this point, this to me, if you look at this looks like Norris had a little bit of a moment here. Norris had more lap time in this turn 2-3. At the same time, we know that the Mercedes has more downforce and drag on, but it's not like Russell is making up much time here. He makes up maybe 2 or 3 hundredths through turn 6. Russell also makes up, Russell actually loses out through turn 4. If I had to guess, there's a little bit of an issue with Norris's data. It looks like Russell outbrakes himself into turn 4 and loses a bit there. He should have gone faster. And this is what I was talking about before the stream, or earlier in the stream. It's like this whole segment between turn 6 and basically turn 11 is just this like flowing thing. And there's so many different ways to gain and lose lap time. And if we look at the lap time distance, or lap time gained or lost, we can see this. So Russell, more downforce, gains a little bit on the way into 6-7, and then Norris gains all this time on the brakes, on the way in, rolling through the apex. Russell has a great drive through 8-9, gaining a lot of that time back. So if you compare from here to here, Russell's up a little bit, and then Russell's just slowly losing on every straight line segment. And Norris was super, super good here. Norris, it was like he's slightly delayed going on throttle. He's rolling a lot of speed through turn 12, 13. But at the same time, he's making up a bunch of rolling speed through turn 13, 14. And it's one of those things, it's like, this is not a straight line. This is that big arc segment. And there's a way to drive it right, and there's a way to drive it wrong. And Norris absolutely nailed the car position, because you throw the car into that first, into turn 12. You brake super hard. And he absolutely nailed that. Let's look at Verstappen then. So this is P1 versus P2. I wanted to show you guys the example of Norris versus Russell. And somebody was saying Russell lost the lap because of all the drag that he had on the car. But if I go back and look at this, I don't think Russell absolutely nailed his lap. And I don't think he will say that either. Endless Rivers says that Norris said his lap was kind of eh. Norris's lap was kind of eh. Norris did not optimize his lap, and he was being honest about that. I think Norris is being very candid about that. Let's look. So unfortunately, Verstappen will be in red because he was not the fastest car in the sprint shootout. So again, Verstappen's got a little bit more top speed than Norris down with the DRS on, opening this lap. Down to turn 4, very similar. Norris a bit faster down to turn 6 because he carried more speed. So let's say top speeds are very similar for the Red Bull and the McLaren. Now, Verstappen, again, there's a little bit of some sampling issues with this data, but it looks like Verstappen's able to throw the car in to turn 1, 2, makes up quite a bit of time. Neither of them were very well collected through turn 2 into 3. Look at this. Verstappen is fully off the throttle between 1 and 2. So that's a big tank slap. But Verstappen is up over 0.2 of a second by turn 4. Norris carries about 10 kilometers an hour faster through turn 4. Turn 4 is huge because it's about 160 kilometers an hour, and 10 kilometers an hour difference through there is huge lap time. So Norris gains back basically 1.5 tenths through there. Norris gets a result, better drive on the straight. Norris finds a little bit of lap time into 8-9. Not too much between them here. I mean, it's about 1/10 by turn 10. So this segment here, that's 0. That's about 1/10. And then Max is really strong on the brakes into turn 10. And I think there's some sketchy data, but I can't tell if that's right. It looks about right. Max carries a little bit more speed on the brakes into turn 10. And then again, look at this. Norris, a really good drive out of 10-11, better positioning, slows the car down earlier, gets on throttle slightly sooner, delays going full a little bit, but he's clawing back time. Into turn 12, Norris rolls just a little bit more speed in, and then look at this. He's rolling more speed at this point here and just gaining back that lap time. Towards the end of the straight, Verstappen starts to gain some time back. But turn 1, 2, especially when you've got wind, is super tricky. And both of these guys, I think, were a little bit suboptimal there. But, I mean, Norris was very suboptimal there. And despite how out of shape Max probably was on that lap. So, Tsunoda or Ricciardo data. Let's see what else we got. So we've gone through Norris and Verstappen. We've gone through Russell. Let's look at Tsunoda. Why not? Tsunoda's next up in the list. If I've missed any messages in chat, it's just because I want to kind of get through this before the sprint race starts in 7 minutes. Is there any confirmation? Is the sprint shootout delayed? Are those type of graphs actually used by engineers? Ask Quentin. Yeah. So this is a simplified, what you would call a driver compare. So this simplified driver compare, since the data that we get from Fast F1 only has throttle, brake on or off, which I don't even look at it because it's on or off. It doesn't have any, it's digital. The signal is digital. It's not actually digital. We have DRS on or off, and then I can compute the time difference between the two laps. You've also got like car speed and gear selection, or an engine speed as well, but I don't find those particularly useful when we're just looking at these top level details. If there was something really like nitty gritty that we wanted to get into about the way the engines were operating or something else, I would do that. But these graphs that I'm showing you are overly. If you were to look at this, if I was in the garage, so what I used to do at Red Bull and Force India as a performance engineer. So during qualifying, for example, I'd be in the garage, and between the runs, I would either have these overlays up on the screen for the driver to look at, or I would print out one and talk the driver through it and just literally give them pointers on where they can gain lap time, where they're losing lap time, tire preparation, is their out lap good? Are they putting too much temperature in the tires? Are they sliding too much? All of that. And that overlay would have car speed, throttle, steering, brake, DRS on off, and a couple of other maybe calculations to help give some insight to the driver about their driving style. Maybe some people like to see driving corner radius. I don't tend to use that too much, but yeah. But yeah, these are absolutely something that F1 teams should see. I'm gonna see if I can get some old overlays from like 4 or 5 years ago from somebody to show you guys. So here is Norris versus Tsunoda. Again, Tsunoda is literally almost 0.2 up on Norris. Norris's sector 1, pretty scrappy. And then again, Norris monster turn 4-5. Norris also very strong relative to Yuki through 6-7. Tsunoda very good from turn 8 down to turn 10. And then again, Norris throws in so much speed into turn 12 and he makes it stick. And he's able, despite going on throttle late, he just rolls so much speed through there and drives that corner the fastest way, even though it's a full throttle corner. So, yeah, that's that's basically it. But I would say, looking at this, it looks like the Toro Rosso was a little bit less stable in the medium to high speed corners because Yuki doesn't trust the car as much there, or maybe there's not as much performance there. So either it's not stable, he's not trusting the car so that he can carry that much extra speed through these compared to Norris, but their overall drag and downforce level is quite similar as a total performance. So here's Tsunoda, here's Norris in terms of top speed. Their drag levels are similar, but it looks like McLaren have slightly more downforce for the same level of drag, considering they're able to carry that much more speed. Where's Norris and Tsunoda? Yeah. So I'm gonna do this. If you guys have any questions, I'm gonna fire up the watch along. I'm gonna fire up multi-viewer for F1. If you're not using multi-viewer for F1 to watch F1, you're missing out. F1 TV Pro subscription is required. It's a legit service, and it uses all the data feeds and everything else. The McLaren, John Kinger says, isn't the McLaren strong in medium and high speed anyway? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. More to that, I think, to put that my statement in context more, John, I would say that the AlphaTauri has surprised me this weekend, because in Mexico, they were super high drag, but they seem to have a lot of downforce. And here they're a similar level of drag, but their downforce level is still quite usable. I'm not sure what that's going to translate to. I think we'll get a little bit of a hint of what AlphaTauri's performance might be like on Sunday today, obviously, but yeah. Waiting for the sale on F1 TV since you got into it late. It's worth it. Honestly, F1 TV Pro and Multiview for F1 are the only way to watch F1. Sean Hunt's got an interesting question. So Checo was only a couple hundredths off of Max today. Checo was also a tenth off of Max in Mexico. If I've got a driver that consistently can be a tenth off of Max Verstappen, the key there being consistency is super important. And I'm not, don't get me wrong, Checo's had a tough season, but the trick and the key is consistency. If somebody's a tenth off of Max Verstappen, they're fucking good. No? What are your thoughts on that? Yeah, Thomas, I do think they're related. Two weekends don't fix the last 15. That's fine. The ESPN couldn't. I don't know what they're doing, ESPN. It sounds like they're wasting money on the TV rights, honestly. You know what I'm saying? You hate how multiviewer gets blocked by your virus scanner. Can you not make an exception for your virus scanner? So let's talk quickly before we get into this. Let's look at the sprint shootout grid. We've got Lando Norris and Max Verstappen on the front row. We've got Perez and Russell second row, Hamilton and Tsunoda third row, Leclerc, Ricciardo, Sainz, and Piastri. I think that's going to be where the action is. Is there anybody in the back 10 that I see making moves? Maybe Alonso, if he's got his car fixed. I don't particularly like the low downforce. I don't see the Alpine being able to hang on enough to make that many moves happen, honestly. Piastri in P10 could be, he could definitely be a threat. Ricciardo and Tsunoda, I think they'll hang on to about where they're at. Well, I think today we'll get a little bit of we'll get a little bit of a sneak preview of what the Ferrari's tire management is going to be like. Because honestly, we know, this is not an opinion. The Ferraris do not tend to have good tire management at all. Let me go to solo. Give me 1 second, and I will get my. Oh shit. Right, I'm gonna set my delay to 33. So you guys set yours to 35. Actually, correction, set that to 32. I need to turn on multi-viewer on my stream PC so I can get stats for you guys, so you can see it on the screen up here. So tires, everybody on a used soft. Tsunoda's on a new soft. Magnussen and Hulkenberg on mediums. Sargent on a medium. Zhou on a new soft, and Bottas on a new soft as well. We are on the grid there, about to take the formation lap. And then let's just go to... Give me 1 second, and I will get the timing up. There we go. Why is the Williams so slow in a straight line all of a sudden? Great Mallow, I would say that's probably because they're trying to add downforce onto the car, and with downforce comes drag, honestly. Hey, again, real quick, Ali, if you're still here, thank you so much, like genuinely, for the 50 gifted subs on Twitch. That is way generous. So at a moment to sync completely, I'm looking at Russell's car right now going through about turn 8. We are on board looking at the race leaders. I'm focusing on Perez right now. Is the Aston Martin team downgrading the car to performance? No, I think Aston Martin got hit with the flexi front wing, and I've made a video on YouTube about it. Check out Break F1 on YouTube. Or you're already on YouTube. There's an Aston Martin video, and I think that is the explanation. I'm not convinced, or it has not been officially confirmed by anyone, but yeah. And if you're on YouTube, do be sure to hit that thumbs up button. If you're watching over on Twitch and you haven't hit the follow button, do that, and we'll be live also. I'll be live a half hour before the race tomorrow to chat with you guys. I'm gonna try to go live a little bit before the race goes forward. So we can have a chat before the race, get in the groove, and not just show up right before the race starts. So all the cars are now taking the grid. I can see Max putting a little bit of crazy steering into the car. So Hamilton, P5. I mean, realistically, movers in this race, it'll be interesting to see if the AlphaTauris can hang on. I would like to see the Ferraris move forwards. And Piastri, I think, is the one to watch. And I'm going to put another camera up and watch Piastri, because I'm hoping Piastri has a cool race, because I think that's going to be where the action is. The weather is looking good, honestly. Risk of rain for the session is 0%. DRS is disabled. We've got the cars taking the grid. What are we looking at? Maybe 1 or 2 burnouts? I didn't see too many. I would really like a little bit of spicy rain in this session. Anybody else? Can we get a wet tire emote in the Twitch chat if you want rain? The track looks warm. Track temperature 52. The track is very warm. 52 degree Celsius track temperature. 27 ambient. That's warm. Right, green flag at the back. Red AMG rolling up. 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights. Let's go, let's go. Oh, it's a long pause. That had me... Ugh. Norris sends it. All right, going into turn 1. Max is ahead already. Oh my god. Lots of brake smoke into turn 1. People checking up into turn 2, 3. Couple cars going wide at 3. Verstappen leads Russell. We've also got Russell, then Hamilton. Piastri is going around the Ferrari into 4. Big send. Hamilton does Perez. Oh, who's off? Piastri is off. Rejoins. He's all right. He's hanging on. Hamilton, absolute demon. Russell going through on Norris. Alonso was asked for 5 burnouts, Rory. Holy shit. Alonso's up 2. Right, so we're riding on board with Hamilton right now. Hamilton is half a second behind Norris. No DRS at the moment. Do we have DRS already? They've already turned it on. Okay, it's enabled after this lap because I don't see anybody using it to turn 1. Alonso up the inside of the Haas. Okay, so the DRS will be open now and everybody's using it down to turn 4. Perez really wants to get back past Hamilton. Piastri is holding his place. Piastri had to move into turn 4, but now he went out wide at 4, I believe, so he's back at P10. Overhead view for the race restart. Perez did not get a very good start. Both of the Mercedes had better starts than Perez. Max takes Norris up the inside. Norris is down to P3. Game over, Max is ahead, yeah. All right, let's watch the onboard start with Max. Max short shifting there, or is that just a slow-mo? Oh, it's a slow-mo. That corner, turn 1, is so good. Grim, how you doing, bro? Perez having a look on Hamilton. Is he going to get? No. Hamilton defends. So Leclerc's up a position and Sainz is up a position. And both of the AlphaTauris have dropped one. I think that is the answer. Piastri is 4/10 behind Ricciardo. Yeah. He's having a look. You're hearing Max engaging autopilot. Max is only 7/10 to Russell right now. We've got 24 lap sprint race. We've got 21 laps to go. Yeah, Perez has got to be pushing. Any comments on tires? Charles Leclerc needs liftoff for temperatures. I can't tell if that's probably brakes. Leclerc is 7/10 behind Perez. Perez putting more pressure on Hamilton than Leclerc is onto Perez at this point. Greetings from Germany. Guten Abend, Leo. How you doing, man? Yeah, Perez done are on the outside. DRS. Woe is DRS, but maybe necessary. Even Hamilton's looking to come back, though. Hamilton really didn't lose that much time. Hamilton's right up his gearbox, and he could have another go into turn 4. He's forcing him around the outside. He backs out, but now he's vulnerable from Leclerc. Leclerc's ready. Up the inside into 6. Outside into 6 now. Nope. Look at that train of cars. Beautiful. Perez, great move. Leclerc waiting patiently. Only the Haas on mediums, Hex. That's correct, brother. As well as Sargent. The, either Leclerc over pushing the entries a little bit while he's attacking, or the Ferrari struggling a little bit on traction. It'll be interesting to go look at this later, honestly. I think maybe Leclerc over pushing the entries a little bit to try and be in the show in case something goes wrong. Russell sets the fastest lap of the race, a 1:14.2. Keep in mind, this is about 4.5 seconds slower than qualifying. Lando back into P2. Did we miss that move? Russell, can he take it into turn 4? No, he's not close enough, and he has to look, but he backs out. Hamilton following Perez with the DRS, and Leclerc just biding his time. Milavitha asks, are they hoping to run the softs the whole sprint race? Yeah. Based on last year, the same soft tire did an entire stint. They won't be pitting unless something goes horribly wrong. No top speed, you mean straight line speed? Correct. Rory says Sainz has been asked previously for 100 meters lift and coast. 100 meters lift and coast is probably less than 0.5 of a second in terms of performance. Tsunoda says Leclerc moving under braking. What are we thinking? Does Perez stand a chance to defend to Hamilton? Perez has opened up the gap to 1.3. Is that Hamilton's tires cooked? They are on the same age soft tire. Alonso threw on Magnussen. Job done. Let's look through the field. Piastri's still hanging out in P10. Piastri's looking up Ricciardo's gearbox, and I am super surprised to not see Piastri through on this. Checo looking good. Yeah, Checo is looking good. Piastri's fastest lap was a 15. Norris, a 14.6. Rise, thank you for the tier 1 for 12 months, man. I appreciate that. Thank you very much, dude. A whole year. Albon says Valtteri's car is pissing oil out the back. It sucks seeing the Williams back down at 18, 19. I mean, here's the thing. If you are leaking gearbox fluid, I reckon you could finish a sprint race on a dry gearbox. Sandy says, to be honest, Hamilton is quite reserved at the moment. Hamilton's gap is now 1.9. I'm not sure he's got much left, unless he's biding his time for later. Is that worth the risk? No. No, it's definitely not. If they have a leak in the sprint and you're P18, you retire the car. So the sensors that they'll have is there'll be a level sensor for the gearbox fluid. I think there's a level sensor in the accumulator. I could be wrong on that, but there's either you'll be able to see it in terms of gearbox pressure if you're losing, or if there's a height sensor in the accumulator. If you're that far back, you retire that thing immediately. Perez having a look on Russell around the outside of turn 1. Russell didn't stand a chance. The Mercedes has very, very low top speed. Mercedes is the slowest car in a straight line around this track, more or less, and Red Bull is second fastest. So Francisco says, so cool to watch Formula 1 in multi-view on your commentary. Dude, thank you, man. Oh, go on, Russell. Russell's taking it back. Russell says, I might not have the straight line speed, but I had DRS on you, you son of a gun. Are we getting racing in a sprint race? Yepa says something possibly came off of Perez's floor there. I think Hamilton might be struggling. Let's check multi-viewer for Hamilton's radio comments. Lewis, I'm happy I made that backflip. I don't think that's what he said. Lewis has been asked, think about brake balance forwards when you can. Hey, Nico, over on YouTube, how you doing, man? So probably Hamilton possibly rear brakes hot or rear locking a bit too much. So I think Lewis might be struggling with rear tires, if I had to guess. Lewis is now 2.1 to Perez. Perez is half a second on Russell. Perez is coming for him. Racing in a sprint, we'd love to see it. What can they actually tune in motion? Brake balance offset, brake balance shape, engine braking level, various differential settings, upshift and downshift settings. So Norris does not like being talked to. Norris has got his head down. He's like, leave me alone, let me focus. Norris is 1.7 off of Verstappen, and his race engineer's just trying to tell him, he's like, hey, mate, Russell and Perez are fighting. But at this point, Russell is 2.9 behind him. And this is not... That wasn't Stallard on the radio, so I think Lando has the other race engineer again. You know what? That's an interesting comment. You say Perez is disappointing. I guess he needs a certain race engineer back now. Checo's race engineer, Hugh, is very, very fucking good. And his performance engineer, Rich, is also excellent. So they're doing their best, man. Perez back through turn 1. I think we're going to see a lot of this. Perez is going to hopefully change his tune in terms of his defense into turn 4 because Russell should be able to come back at him. This is one of the best calendars, or best circuits on the calendar. So Perez forced him around the outside again? Nope. No, Russell did not stay as close enough. Albon's up 4 positions right now. Yeah, Quab's good call. Tom is awesome. Who's okay? So who is the voice on the radio? Is not Norris's normal engineer. I think his performance engineer and race engineer have been swapping. No. Yeah, good point. I don't know if it was Tom. Will Joseph is normally Lambda's engineer. That wasn't Will Joseph on the radio, was it? It was Jose. I think who is typically his performance engineer. I've not paid attention to the Ferraris. They are slow. Yeah, Leclerc, fastest lap, 15.4. Yeah, currently doing 16s. Verstappen's doing 15.3s. They're cooking. Brazil 2008, what about it? I don't remember Brazil 2008. It's just a spectacular racing circuit. So Max is 8/10 off his fastest. Norris is about 6/10 past his fastest, but Max's gap to Norris is still about 1.4. They've completely left. 2008 was Glock, wasn't it? Mateo. Don't remember the Gluck. I do remember the Gluck. A Felipe baby. It's Glock. Norris pushing too hard. I mean, he's 2/10 back on this lap, but that could have been a mistake in a corner. Massa remembers it to this day. John, how you doing, man? Ferrari struggling. I mean, Russell's now falling off a little bit. Now, the question we've got 12 laps. We've got half of this left. Ricciardo having a look on their outside. Oof. The Ferrari's getting mugged by an AlphaTauri, and hopefully that gives Piastri a chance to have a look at Sainz now. No. Sainz goes back. Sainz outside of turn 4. He's got more top speed than Ricciardo. He blasts past. Where's Piastri? Piastri's 200ths behind him. On tuning, what's brake balance shape? I've done a video about like optimizing brake balance. It's called like why Formula 1 drivers are insane at braking or something. Can somebody find that video for me and post the link in Twitch? I'll give you a forehead smooch. So, Ricciardo's still got the pressure on Sainz. Russell can hang on to it, but Perez is still 5 seconds off of Norris. Let's not get this confused. Sprint races aren't amazing. Interlagos is amazing. Tuman, there's that video, by the way. Throw a pin in that one later. And if anybody else is wondering and you want to learn more about brake balance, I'll throw the link in the... could you throw the link in the YouTube chat as well? It's moving too quick to copy it. No, you're very welcome, dude. I love talking about that stuff, but it's just easier for you to check that video. And if you have questions later, we could talk about it tomorrow. And I'll probably do an AMA stream at some point as well, so we can talk about these details. Norris start L? It wasn't that bad, Crystal. Not too bad. Genuine question, would you prefer 2 practice sessions instead of the sprint? Kinda. Honestly. But it just, like, I don't know. On one hand, more practice makes the racing more predictable. And then on the other hand, the sprint already gives you an insight into what's going to happen in the race anyway. Tomorrow, Ferrari's going to be dog shit on the soft. The Alfa Romeo or AlphaTauri will go slightly backwards. Piastri is struggling with traffic. He can't overtake an AlphaTauri. Verstappen, Perez, rapid, okay on the tires. Max has better pace than Perez. I don't know. Ricciardo threw on Sainz. Does he make it stick? But it's going to go down to turn 4 again. Sainz trying to get as much slipstream off of Ricciardo as he can. And he just... I'm surprised not to see Piastri through him. You know, at the same time, more practice makes the racing slightly more predictable and we know what's going to happen, but also the sprint race spoils the main event. Is Piastri done Ricciardo? He snicked through, you little sneaky bastard. Softs are 2 minute softs will last because if you pit, I don't know what the pit loss is here. I think it's a short pit loss, isn't it? Or is it a long one? Does anybody know the pit loss time? Aston, having a look. Sandy, I agree with you completely. So much happening, yeah. It's really hard to keep track of what happens between turn 6 and 10 as well. Max left rear looks on edge. It's hard to tell. Hard to tell. Gasly, I can hear tires screeching. Oh, this is chaos. Oh, Gasly trying to get through Alonso just around the outside. Perez is massively dropped off. Perez does not have the pace right now. Perez doing 16.1 last lap. Verstappen 15.3 last lap. Max is only 1 second off his fastest lap. The pace of those guys ahead is well fast, mate. Innit? Max was not, so just a little bit of cheeky banter between Max and GP. Max is asking, are we pushing in the high-speed corners or not? And GP says, Lando is faster than you through the high-speed corners. At the same time, I think I can't tell you if the Red Bull or the McLaren will fall off first from pushing the high-speed corners, but it does look like they're like, you're losing time to him there. Push a little bit more through 6, 7. Well fast in it. Norris tires are not dead. He's doing 15.8. Verstappen is 15.3. The gap between Verstappen and Norris has been about 1.5 seconds for an age, so they're chilling. No big dramas, but I think Max would very much like to keep Lando out of his DRS. 1.8 is comfortable, but it doesn't leave you much margin. Perez is still hanging around 7 seconds, so nothing to see there. Russell, Hamilton, Leclerc, nothing. Tsunoda on Leclerc could be a thing. And Piastri is 1.4 to Sainz. Piastri is not moving right now. Will the Astons be faster than the Mercs in the main race? That's really hard to tell because Alonso is apparently faster than Ricciardo, and Ricciardo is apparently faster than Piastri. Do you think Norris has a chance tomorrow? Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think he does. Are there enough laps for Rick to cast Piastri? Realistically, Ricciardo is in Piastri's gearbox. Alonso's putting pressure on Ricciardo. Gasly's putting pressure on Alonso. Piastri is the roadblock right now. Yeah, I mean, Piastri is genuinely the roadblock at the moment. Nation, there was no one deemed wholly at fault for the Ocon-Alonso incident. Max is now gapping Norris that he's been pushing in the high speed, I'm assuming. 2.5 second gap to Norris. Brian, what's up, brother? Silas, hello. How you doing, man? Yeah, huge shout out to the mechanics for getting the car ready for both Ocon and Alonso. 6 to go. 5 to go, actually. I've seen some takes on the Bird app. There are some takes on the Bird app, always, bro. What are the chances that Soft falls off? Nah. Max is still doing 15-1s, man. Max has been doing 15-1s the entire... Has Max done a lap slower than a 116 other than the first lap? Dope hat. Thank you very much. Texas. Dr. Ooh, why are the Alphas so good today? Honestly, I wouldn't say they're outstanding. I think they performed well in qualifying. The Ferraris are underperforming, albeit outperforming the Alpha Tauris. Yeah, you're not talking about the Alfa Romeos, so... I think what we saw in Mexico was that the Alpha Tauri has a lot of downforce. It's just not particularly efficient. And if I go back and look at, you know, what they did today in terms of their speed and lap time balance, they actually pulled a little bit of downforce off the car, which just made them less competitive than they were. So maybe they would have done a little bit better. How's it going, Dr. U? So if anybody's, a couple of people talking about watching F1, the best way to watch F1 is multi-viewer for F1 with an F1 TV Pro subscription. I mean, to be fair, AlphaTauri sometimes are a bottom 3 team. And the fact that they're running, I don't know, this Piastri a bit out of order. They're basically running 3rd, 4th fastest team. Not bad. If you're interested in the data as well, I posted a couple of free articles. If you click that link, don't worry about the membership thing. Click over to posts, and there's a couple of free articles there. And I think if you're into the geeky stuff, you'll definitely like that. You'll definitely enjoy that geeky stuff. Jamie, what's up, man? Is altitude not so much in Mexico, Jamie? I mean, it's helping them a little bit, and yes, it is pushing them more. Oh, what do we got? Leclerc threw on Hamilton. Hamilton on the struggle. And is he about to get done by Tsunoda? Tsunoda on the inside into turn 4. Side by side. Oh, Yuki. No, Yuki's coming back at that. Yuki intimidating. Yuki very intimidating. Sainz getting absolutely bullied. Leclerc coming through. Leclerc up 2. No shot for Leclerc to have a go at Russell. It looks like Hamilton's on the struggle bus. If Tsunoda can hang on to this... Jamie, that's a great point. I do think the efficiency is pushing in AlphaTauri's favor a little bit. Maybe they're going to be shit at Vegas and Abu. Who knows? Helen, you need to use multi-viewer and it won't be behind. We're running a 32-second offset. Is Paris taking care of tires? No. I don't think so. Go on, Yuki. Yuki flying around, but can Hamilton come back? Ricardo's coming through on Piastri now. Is it not a bit concerning just how mid Mercedes are after 2 seasons of new regs? Yeah, a little bit. Ham is cooked. Yeah. Bizarre lack of race pace. Very uncharacteristic of him. No, I agree with you. And if there's somebody I do expect to go well around here, it would be Lewis. Yeah, that's a great point. Hamilton's last lap in 18.4. Russell's still doing 16.8s, but neither of those lap times are great. Let's see if we got any insight on what Hamilton's struggling with on the radio messages. Just got to stay on top of the traction metrics. I think they're burning up rears. I think that's not surprising around here either. They're struggling to keep on top of rears here. Leclerc and Tsunoda are closing up on Russell. A lap to go. Nothing. What do we have in terms of opportunities for moves throughout the field? Alonso on Piastri, possibly. Alonso on Piastri is the only thing I see. Piastri has been an absolute roadblock this race, which is something off with Piastri's car. Sainz is 1.4 to Hamilton. Maybe. If you guys want to see what this looks like after the race, in the morning I'll do the sprint shootout or the sprint race analysis at buymeacoffee.com/break. I might just share that with everybody. So you don't have to sign up to the membership if you don't want to, but if you sign up to Buy Me a Coffee, whenever I publish something, it goes straight to your email, or whenever I publish the free stuff, and I do that usually once a week. So if you're on the fence and you're not sure you want to buy me a coffee every month, that's okay, but I'll definitely fire you some cool stuff out. Yeah, Piastri uncomfortable at points. Alonso threw on Piastri, but Piastri's around the outside. Oh, go on, Piastri. I mean, he may be struggling with the car right now, but he's not giving up that point, or that not point, because it's P10. But Sainz on Hamilton could happen. But more than not, it looks like Ricciardo's putting pressure on Sainz, I'd say. All right, show Max cross the line, show him take the checker, and then immediately switch back to Ricciardo. Show me Ricciardo or Alonso right now. I don't give a fuck about that. I don't care about the guys in the garage. Show me Alonso or Ricciardo right now. Nobody, like, Perez is by himself. Fucking TV producer, absolute dog shit. There we go. Come on, Ricciardo on Sainz. Is he any chance? Nah. That was entertaining. Chat, what do we think? I mean, the thing is, I'm here. I'm having a conversation with you guys. I'm looking at the timing. I'm watching the TV, and I can tell you which cars you need to be watching right now. This was a banger sprint race. A banger sprint race, honestly. But the thing is, just because Interlagos has a good sprint race does not mean sprint races are good for F1. No? Easy cure? Hey, welcome to the stream, by the way. I mean, if we basically fucked off sprint races and we got one of them for, yeah. They have a format at Race End. Yeah, I know they do. But Dr. Yu, I think that is a very excellent point. Yeah, the format is show the formalities, show the checkered flag, show P1, 2, and 3 taking the checkered flag, show the winning team celebrating, or maybe, you know, if it's Mercedes, you'd be like Toto Wolff and the guys giving each other handshakes or grins or whatever. But at the end of the day, I think the fans are being completely robbed with some of this direction and some of this, like, oh, this is the way we do it. It's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. It's like people are like Formula One's too predictable, Formula One's too boring, and then you have TV direction focusing on nonsense for the entire race, and it's like, show me somebody just outside of the points fighting for dear fucking life to score nothing. They want to be P10 in a sprint race. There's no points. They're not sleeping on that. They're taking risks. Rant over. But I feel very, very strongly about that. And like that's one of the big problems is people are switching off from the sport because TV direction is terrible. We're not highlighting the exciting things. The commentary crews don't talk about anything that's actually exciting happening. All we do is talk about the eventuality of Max or winning the race or whatever else, or when it was Hamilton. Look, Hamilton's winning all the races, fine. Don't give people a chance to harp on those narratives. Give people something to fucking watch. Yeah, I've got my own onboards that I switch around before. What if they let themselves off by the hook? No. But I think the problem is, don't worry about the serious fans. What the sport needs to be worried about is hanging on to the fans on the fringe of the sport. And the people are like, I'm not sure if I want to watch this or not. Why should I watch this? And you watch 5 races. It's like every race is just like the same guy at the end of the race taking the checkered. And we didn't really get to see a whole lot of the racing. Like Mexico, terrible TV direction. So I feel bad. But at the same time, for example, Sky and everybody else, all they get is the world feed to use. They don't have any input into the TV direction. So let's talk about the championship points as it finishes. Any moves? No changes in. Wait, no. We do have a change at the end of the sprint race. Yuki Tsunoda is up 2 positions, overtaking Bottas and Hülkenberg. No other changes in constructors or drivers championship. Tsunoda finishes P6 with an excellent drive. Ricciardo spending a little bit too much time fighting with Piastri, and hopefully could have gotten past Sainz at the end, but not bad. Big W's to Yuki. If you want a championship fight, watch IndyCar. I know, doomed. The problem for me is my brand and everything I do is focused around Formula One right now. And Formula One takes up so much time to do it the way I do it. Like, I know a lot of guys can get away with watching the races and having amazing conversations about them. I don't get that excited about that many things until I go through the data and look at it. And that is my brand, and that brand takes a lot of time, and it doesn't leave me much time to enjoy other racing series. What do you expect tomorrow based on what you've seen? That's a good question from Sabu. Let me pull up tomorrow's grid because I feel like that is super important, and then I'll talk through that before we get out of here. But if you guys are just tuning in, make sure to follow on Twitch or subscribe on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, give this stream a thumbs up, and I'll be live an hour before the race tomorrow. And I'll be live a half hour before the race tomorrow, so we can talk about this. If you've got any questions, also join the Discord, and there's an F1 section. If you're on YouTube, there's a link in the description so you can find the Discord. So let's get the provisional starting grid for Sunday, and let's talk through it. Mercedes shocking today. Setup problems, very possibly Mercedes setup problems today. Miss Hellcats dropped the Discord link in YouTube if you guys are not in the Discord. Honestly, F1 Twitter's kind of a cesspit of just nonsense and shit talking and me being really sarcastic and shitty to people. Not really that bad. But there's a lot of very interesting conversations, and I feel like we're talking about the important stuff. So if you're overloaded by checking F1 Twitter, I think the crew in the community Discord in the F1 section will keep you guys up to date. And we make sure that the discussions stay civil so you guys can ask questions. And the best thing is to ask questions with a lot of opinions, but be polite. So let's talk about, is this the right provisional starting grid? Yeah, okay, fine. So starting grid for tomorrow will be Max, Charles, Lance, Alonso, Hamilton, Norris, Sainz, Russell, Perez, Piastri. Let's stop there. Now, based on the performance that we saw, I think the AlphaTauris were relatively strong from the back order. So I think we might see the AlphaTauris scoring points in the Grand Prix tomorrow. That is possible. I don't know what Mercedes learned about their cars today. I don't see Aston Martin finishing on the second row of the race. Aston Martin could finish 7, 8, 8, 9, 9, 10 kind of region, but I don't see that. Perez hopefully makes a move through. I would like to probably see Perez overtaking. But Perez didn't look super happy in the car today. If we look at Perez's gap over a 24 lap race, a third race distance, he was 10 seconds off. Max will have a free stop over him at that rate. Tomorrow's race will be a soft, medium, soft, or something like that. Aston's will be barely in the points tomorrow, I reckon. More downforce does not equal better tire wear. I would say that's the case. And let's before we get out of here, let's quickly talk about that. Tire wear has a lot to do with your car's setup, balance, and consistency. So if your car has a lot of downforce or very little downforce, but neither of them are sliding very much, there are instances where higher downforce can increase tire energy and hence tire wear. And there's instances where lower downforce, you can be sliding more because you have less grip and the car is less predictable. But tire energy is a metric which drives wear. And there's also the temperature effect as well, but let's assume that the drivers got the tire in the windows from the temperature point of view. So vertical force on the tire is proportional to downforce. Then you've got the sliding speed. And sliding speed doesn't really change that much with downforce level. So if you're sliding more or less, which is a balance thing. So it's like, is the car predictable? Is the driver like having snaps? Is he spinning up the rear tires a lot? Is he have bad traction? Those are all related to setup. And, you know, Ferrari typically is not, they'll go good on a single lap, but they will not be as good on their tires over a race often. So, do you think anybody will start on the mediums and go long? I think the optimum race is a 2-stop tomorrow, so I don't think people will go longer than they need to. I don't know how that plays out with safety car windows, but I don't think if you're in the points, you're gambling on safety car windows, so to speak. So, I hope you guys enjoyed that little watch along in the post race chit chat. I'll be live tomorrow. I'll be live 30 minutes before the race so we can chat and see what's going on. I think you guys will hopefully enjoy that. I need to send you guys over to someone before I get out of here. Who are we going to go see? I'm going to send you guys over to... I'm going to send you guys over to Grand Pooh Bear. Grand Pooh Bear is Red Bull athlete, and he's a Mario speedrunner. So if you're on Twitch, I'll send you guys over there. If you're on YouTube, I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much for hanging out. But if you're on Twitch, hang tight, and I'll send you guys over to Grand Pooh Bear. He's one of my iRacing buddies as well. You guys will totally love Grand Pooh Bear. He's an absolute dude. I will see you over there. If you're in Twitch, copy paste those raid messages. YouTube, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hit the like button, and be sure to check out some of the tech videos on the YouTube channel. I think there's a lot of really interesting stuff in there. I appreciate you guys. Twitch, YouTube, mods, thank you for your help so much. Homies, regulars, thank you for pointing everybody in the right direction. As always, you guys make this so great. Versatility, have a great night. M as well. Henny, Sabu, Asia Skills. Peace out. See you, Nico. Thanks for stopping into the stream, man. We'll see you later.